Have you ever wanted to bend wood like this? And the key to doing it is to have a steam box. And I don't have a steam box, so I've been making one. And if you want to see how that's going, stick around. Welcome to the shop here in beautiful, cold and frigid and dark Canterbury, New Hampshire. I'm Tom McLaughlin, and that's the camera lady over
Hi
there.
Yes.
You never see her. And tonight, I want to share with you my adventure. I'm actually in the middle of this adventure of building a steam box to bend parts like this.
Compressor wanted to be mentioned too, I guess.
Can you hear that? Can you hear the compressor?
It's coming. It's
Maybe I overreacted.
No problem.
All right. Well, so I've read in books, I've looked at videos, I've seen so many ways of doing this, but I need to make a steam box because we've got a shaker rocking chair course coming up, and we've had courses here before, but it was someone else's steam box, and we bent this piece and a whole lot of others. And if you look at this rocker down here, you can see we even bent these rails up here. This was one type of rocker that was made in this rocking chair course run by another person. And we bent these rails, and these would get the shaker tape on them. So this got upholstered, the seat got upholstered with the shaker tape and cushion. And then above here, you got a little bent slat or, ladder back rung there. And then on the very top, you get another rail called a shawl rail. So it just came across like that. But you need something to bend these parts. Now, the rocking chair that we're doing is going to be a pretty close copy of one made at the Shaker Canterbury Village. And there is no...
Canterbury Shaker Village.
Did I say that?
You said Shaker Canterbury Village.
I did.
Just to clarify so they don't feel like we
The Shaker Canterbury, all right, the Canterbury Shaker Village, wow, is going to have, I'm going to have 4 slats. It's really nice. I like the 4 slatted rather than this because these curve rails can dig into your back, but we're going to need to do this. So I've been mulling over how to build a steam box and how to make it simple but good and not break the bank making it, right? So we're going to make it ourselves. And what I discovered was there are a gazillion ways, and you've probably seen all kinds of steam boxes. Some are very primitive. You might just have some pine construction lumber around, and you could screw that together into a box, seal up the ends, and you would have it ready for steaming. Now, there's some others were made incredibly simply with just a piece of pipe, like an 8-inch pipe. I saw some people using like an 8-inch galvanized duct pipe, and I thought, I know, I'll use my galvanized pipe. But no, I've been cleaning up the shop, and I gave a lot of that away. See, just when I needed it.
Just when you need it.
No, I'm just kidding. I decided, yeah, all right. I let it go. And I decided to make a box, not out of regular hardwood, but using a lined plywood. This is the plywood I'll be making the box with, but the interior is just going to be lined in aluminum. So aluminum has some interesting properties. It's a great reflector of heat. I also didn't want all the moisture like going into the plywood all the time and saturating into the corners and all that. So I thought, I'm going to put a nice coating of aluminum on here, the interior of the box, and it'll reflect the heat, and it'll keep most of the moisture and heat inside the box, which is what you want. Now, I'm going to make it 4 feet long. I'll talk more about the dimensions in a second. But another thing you need is a steam generator to throw the heat. And I'll just bring this in now. I can see this is newly purchased. It's pretty cheap. There's not a lot to it, you know, but they're pretty inexpensive. They're only, what are they, like 70 bucks, 60, 70 bucks. And we put a link to this if you want to get one. They say if you fill it up to the max line, you'll get 2 hours of steam out of it. And that's good for most things. So it's pretty nice little system. And we'll talk more about that after. But this is going to generate the steam through a port in the box, and then you'll be ready to go.
So Tom, why bend versus a form laminate?
Excellent question.
Laminate with a form, I should say.
Why not? Well, you know what? I've always laminated. I prefer laminating, but when it comes to making a traditional chair, they were bent. For most part, these traditional rails, they're all steam bent. You can see a lot of the old forms, the Canterbury Shaker books, you know, old workshops, the drying form. So once it's bent, it's put on a drying form that's going to hold this shape. And then you let it dry out for about a week or so anyway, and then you pull it out and it just springs back slightly. But if you can wait and you're making a lot of them, steaming is pretty efficient. You get a good system because it takes time to laminate. You've got to make your laminations, you got to put it over the form, you got the glue, you got to get pressure on it, and you got to wait there too. So, and then you have to worry about seams. Here, you just got to get your material, which is like a 1/4 inch thick. And so it's going to be an easy steam and an easy bend. That's what I say right now. So,
We're hopeful.
good question.
They're saying they use PVC pipe.
Yes, that's another one.
Yeah. High temperature PVC, apparently.
Yeah, so you got to think about the temperature because the steam, you're going to be up to the boiling point. You're going to be up to 212, right? And it's going to be nice inside that box. So I wanted to make one that was going to last and be pretty versatile. Now, in order to, I just want to show you my little method for coating this. This is not a method you have to use. You can do it any which way. But you can just take a long view of the vacuum press back here. We don't get back here much. Well, you got a little extension there.
I do. I can come.
Okay. So I have set up my 4x8 vacuum press bag back here, and super handy. And I've got a few pieces in here. I just pressed the aluminum on one side, and I'll show you how I did that. I don't know, we've talked about this bag in a episode, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go back to the bench.
Oh, I'm done. Tom, are there some woods that are better for bending than others?
Oh, yeah. When we get to applying this, I'll actually get into that more. Of course, in the course, we will as well. You know, to begin with, you want to try to use air-dried wood. If you can avoid kiln-dried, you're better off because the kiln-dried hardens a bit the lignum in the pore structure, and it's just not as pliable after it goes through that process. It will bend, most species will, but you can have more issues, especially if you're making a tighter bend. If you can get air dried, and it's ideal. Like, I've got a lot of ash trees out here that I'm eager to try this with and make some kind of small decorative items, you know, maybe we could have a fun, you know, I've seen people make these coat hooks and pretty nice out of the right wood.
Now that's an exciting thing. Coat hooks.
Do you really?
We have our shaker pegs. They're kind of cool.
Shaker pegs?
When you say coat hooks, what do you mean? I guess I'm thinking like a shaker peg thing for holding
Well,
coats.
you know, like a U shape or a J. You could bend a J-shaped thing, you
For
know?
hanging your coat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just saying
That's-
I like
that's
the shaker
the coat
pegs for
hook.
that, so. But I'll take a hook, sure.
I didn't say you were going to get one. You're not getting one now.
I guess I just ruined my chances.
No. you-
Don't question the master. Oh my gosh. My mistake,
An
sorry.
issue with a coat hook. All right. So, those of you who want to make a coat hook,
It's coming.
actually, I just want to show you how I did this. You could just tack this on here, but what I ended up doing, and I'll just get a little piece for a sample. I used some construction adhesive.
Your bench looks like you've been cooking up something.
It's a mess, right? I'm kind of a mess. To be honest with you, I was going to apologize to start off tonight because I am like not really ready, you know? This is one of the first times I said, all right, it's all right. It's Shop Night Live.
Take you as you are.
I try to be kind of tight with and have a good program for you all the time because, you know, I don't want to waste your time, but we also would like the videos to be multi-purpose, you know, and used after. But there is something to the live element, and this is real life. I'm not always ready. I miscalculated how long this was going to take, and I'm not where I wanted to be honest. But that's okay, because I got
You're going to make it happen.
I got my construction adhesive, and I'm just going to roll with this and let you see what happened. So in order to prep these panels, I just put some construction adhesive on here, and I did check the temperature rating of this, and it's good up to 212. So this will be nice. And this is, you know, it's going to be behind, but this stuff's pretty
Gorilla.
nice.
We have been wanting to use this.
Oh yeah. Gorilla Glue sent me some stuff a while back. All right. Now, I guess you could get fancy and trowel that out with a tooth trowel, but I didn't do that. I just kind of got it like that. And then this came from a roll of flashing. So I just picked up a roll of 20-inch by 10 feet, just flashing from the building, you know, the roofing area of the box store. And that was about 20, I think it was 24 bucks. Times have changed since I built the shop. I don't know if I could do it again. All right, so I just put it down like I would have maybe cut the piece to size a little bit or whatever. And then I have the luxury of, so nice if you have a staple gun. This one by Grex is quite nice. It's like I'm doing a commercial, but they're not a sponsor, but they are very supportive of what we're doing here.
Very much.
So, shout out to Ray. All right, so all I have to do is tack it. You can use these staples to tack it in place. And then what I did was I took it and then put it face down into the press. So all that pressure really evens out that glue in there, and you end up with a really nice bond to the inside of all these sheets. And this one, I just did this one as an example. I want to show you just a fun little, look at how nicely these corners are wrapped. You like that?
I do. Like you've been wrapping presents.
Well, it's not that hard. I want to just show you quickly how I did that. Where's my knife? There it is. So I'm going to set it on here and get it flush with the end. This is just a square piece of wood. So I'm going to cut this corner out where I want to make that bend. So you can see just a regular utility knife cuts through here quite easily. I've cut a lot of this and I haven't even changed the blade. So just by scoring it a little bit, you can usually come up and wiggle it and it'll pop right off. So now with that, I can bend around. So to do that, all I did was take a little more adhesive. I put it right on the edge like this. Then I bent it around. I put pressure on the corner and bent right up and around. Okay. And then when I had that, then I could come in with my staple gun again. Isn't that nice? And then, once again, we hit it this edge. So you're making basically veneered panels with aluminum flashing. So it's cheap material, but you're turning your plywood into a super material for the interior of your steam box. What are you chuckling over there?
Chuckling because they're saying you're going to have to add metalworking to your
Oh, yeah.
epic repertoire.
Yeah, that's not my thing so much, but there are times you have to get used to it.
Other mediums.
Yeah, and then once I had that, I actually thought it was nice to, where's my burnisher?
Where is it? What are you looking for?
We're not in the house.
The sounds.
What are you?
The sounds of the search.
We're not in the house. I'm on my own out here. What are you looking for? All right, so once you've got it a corner wrap like that, you can then, what's kind of fun to do is take a burnisher and you can sharpen up the bend like that and really get that. I guess I am becoming a metal worker, but it can make into a more crisp, tight corner, makes it a nice wrap. All right, so that's the way I made.
That's definitely the anal woodworker right there.
What's that?
I said, that's definitely the anal woodworker right there.
All right, so I got my panel. Now I pre-drilled these. I want to show you now the box. So you can see this is just one of the lengths. I cut everything to 48 inches long. I know that my back legs, the longest component of the shaker rocker, are about 44 or something like that. 44 to 46. So I've already started assembling the box, and I wanted to do the last portion here. So I've also already pre-drilled. Now, I just wrapped one edge, and so that's why I'm doing it kind of this funky way. And I ripped all my pieces 8 inches wide. So by wrapping the corners this way, everything's 8 inches, so they're all going to overlap kind of funky like this. But I'm going to end up with about 7¼ interior, both dimensions, by 4 feet. So if you make a huge box, you might say, oh, I'll just make mine 8 feet. Well, that's going to take a lot more steam to work with every time. And if you have something small, that's a little more than you probably need. So getting this all put together, you're going to need some kind of gasket material. And this is where I went to the box store and I was looking at the gasket material. And I probably should have just got the weather stripping, the rubber weather stripping, but I was in a place where I ended up choosing this garage door stripping. It's like a rubberized, there's a bit of foam in it, but it was too wide, so I just sliced it lengthwise with my knife, and it's going to squish and create a really nice seal here. Now, I am sealing all these corners. I don't want a lot of moisture or steam pouring out, but you got to be careful. You can't make an absolutely perfectly tight box because it would actually explode if you did it a little too tight. So I am going to make a little release hole for the steam to go out the bottom after. And you also have a little weep hole in the back for the condensation to go out. and the box gets tilted up slightly, so that works. But let me just show you how this goes together. I've got this gasket material here. You can use just about anything. You can go without it, but you're gonna see the steam pouring out of the edges if they're not like pretty nice, you know. So here we go. I'm just gonna put this on here and I'm get it. Just gonna hold it there. Get it down the other end here. I like getting to use this staple gun. I feel like Joe Portinari.
For those who don't know, that's an upholsterer friend we have,
I should have thrown it.
who Tom did a video on.
Okay,
Showing his
now
skills.
I've got another one. I'm going to use this piece right here, and it's going to go. So I need to put the gasket there as well. So I'm going to just tack it to this edge here, so we can close this box up. And everything's pre-drilled, so I'll just run a few of the screws in so you can see what we're dealing with. Okay, I'm going to come down here. It's a little more to this than I thought, you know. I don't know if you have the same problem, but sometimes I can overbuild things. What?
I have the best shelves. in my
Sometimes I
pantry.
can overbuild, and
Let's just
takes me
say.
a while to get to it sometimes. But because I'm thinking of the perfect thing, it's kind of a McLaughlin family issue. My brother had it real bad, but anyway, there you go. So now we've got our gaskets all in place. Now to make this work, I need a little inner support here inside the box. So I'm going to set that block there. And this will come in. There we go. That's nice. Okay, so to get this in position, what I'm going to do is get the help of some clamps. Get the clamps in position. That'll help align the box before I start running the screws in. So it'll make that go a lot easier.
Better to overbuild than underbuild. Yes, Erskine says.
Yeah, I mean, I actually am thinking of, I'm going to use this probably in a course or two, and I just wanted something that was going to work. And I didn't have my galvanized pipe, so what can I say?
The shelves I was talking about, we went about 2 to 3 years without shelves in our pantry when we first built our house many years ago. And I just had stuff that was in there on the base of the pantry, and one morning I came down and Tom had put these beautiful shelves in there with a nice cherry, what's that called when you just line it with cherry? Front face?
It was an edging.
Yeah, like a cherry edging. It was gorgeous and shaped really nice. And there was this really
Excuse
sweet
me,
sign on it that said, "Thank you for your shelfless patience."
I forgot that. I was so proud of myself.
Oh, that was so fun.
I was shelf satisfied. Sorry. All right. Enough of that. Sorry.
When Nathan's asking, when do you drill the holes for the wooden rods you insert into the sides?
Oh, thank you, Nathan. You're jumping ahead. But you know what? I think I might end up taking it apart so I can get these parallel. Or you can make a little jig and just with a hole, at 2 heights and mark them out like certain length from the front edge. Do the same over here. And then you can just hold that little L-shaped jig and drill through horizontally. I would make my jig on the drill press, so I was sure I had a horizontal hole. And since we're talking about it, these are just the dowels that I got. I found a nice pack of dowels on Amazon. You can get like 50 of these things for like 12 bucks. It was a pretty good deal. And they're 3/8 inch diameter. And that's what I'm going to use here to go through. I'm going to put 2 levels, probably one down low to get it off the floor, and then another one about mid-high, so I could stack a couple and have a nice setup in there. So then I'll just throw a few of these screws in just so we can see it. Good Lord, what is that? Wasn't doing that earlier. I'm gonna switch this out.
This one's not quite as loud.
Yeah, leave it a Festool.
Stool. Shout out.
And
Tom, how does, I'm not sure if you know this, but how does steam bending compare to hot pipe bending?
well, I did do a video on the hot pipe bending. I don't know if you guys saw. Remember we had fun doing that one night? But that the pipe bending is a method where you're heating a thinner strip of wood over a pipe. So you know, you can do thinner. You're usually working with thinner pieces when you're using that technique. You wouldn't try to bend like the back legs of that shaker rocker, which we have done as well. But it's also a technique that, let me get this. It localizes the heat on those thinner strips over a pipe, a round pipe. So the heat is very local to where the pipe is bearing against the wood, where this is going to steam the whole thing. But it works in a similar way in heating the lignum in the wood, and when it heats up enough, it gets very bendable, you know, and agreeable. We did I used that method here one night, and it was fun. We made a lot of different shapes, and even like little basket handles, very quick and easy.
That. We'll put the link, I can add the link.
Yeah.
So what type of screws are you using, Tom?
I'm just using coarse thread drywall screws, 1 5/8 for this 3/4 inch plywood. But this is basically all you got to do, and I'll just run a couple of these in. I just want to talk about the end caps. And you'll be seeing this completed. Maybe we'll even, I don't know, maybe we'll break it out next week. I don't know.
Are we going to see some steam tonight?
No.
No.
No, it's already, I don't,
More to go, huh?
takes a while. Oh yeah, I gotta attach the end caps. That's where I was hoping. It's hard to demonstrate it in the same time, build it in the same period when you only have as much time as we have. But there we have it. So I would run all those in there, and what I end up with is this really nice lined box with that gasket. I gotta fix that, but you can see down there how nicely lined it is, and that's going to keep the heat in really well. So the end caps are going to be these that I just took out. These are also lined with our aluminum flashing. So that's going to go right on there, and we'll have one end. I'll just screw it on, but again, I'm going to cut a piece of this gasket material a little narrower than that, and it'll just be right on there. So when this gets screwed on, we'll have a nice sealed point there. I'm going to drill up from the back end of the box a hole right in the middle there, right near the end, so that it will allow the condensation and steam to go out. You're going to have like a bucket at the end of it on that far end. On the other end, like let's say this, so that would be the back. We would screw that one on tight. On this end, we're going to have our door. And so again, I'd put my gasket material on there. I have to clean that off. And this will go right on. And what we're going to do is use just about any kind of hinge you have. I'm going to use, I think, the same hinge as it's a piano hinge. I'm just going to put it over here on the end. When I have the gasket on, I'll put some pressure, apply the hinge, and then swing it open. And then we'll, on the off side there, I'm going to put these latches. You know, you're going to want some type of latch that, so this will go on there. This is just a simple, like a chest latch, kind of nothing fancy, but this will go on here. I don't know if this is going to work very well, actually, now that I look at it. I could go double thickness. Maybe I'll go double thickness with my door. I think that's what I'll do. I'll just laminate another piece to it, and then it'll swing open, and you deal with your stuff in there. And again, we're going to have our little rods running across, holding the material up in the air, and we'll bring our port in for the steamer. It's just a little 1/2 inch. Oh, there it is. So you got to drill a 1/2 inch hole, and this could go in the bottom, but I think I'm going to go in the side down low so that I can have the steamer on the side if I like. And rather than, plus I could put this up on a bench if I wanted with one end cantilevered over. So the hose would be easily worked like that. So this, you just drill a 1/2 inch hole, run it through, and then thread on the nut on the inside. And then you're going to thread on the fitting. This gets threaded on and creates a pressurized fitting.
Off the steamer hose.
Yep, and so that's your steamer hose. And once it comes up to steam, you're going to see it start to go. And like I said, I'm going to drill another escape hole, but I don't know. I'm going to try without and see if it won't explode.
Remind me to put the security camera on. So
I don't know how long you wait for that.
Sure,
but,
you're okay.
yeah.
Can you remind us what the caulking was that you used? It's a Gorilla product.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a construction adhesive. So there's lots of construction adhesives out there, but this is the Gorilla heavy duty ultimate construction adhesive. Works nice for this.
You sent us that for one of the epic weekends, and
Yeah, it's pretty messy though.
We liked
Boy,
it.
it gets on everything. But it's good stuff. All right.
so
Any other questions?
I think you answered this, but just so I don't mess it up. Danny's asking, do you allow for a drain to drain away the condensation from inside the box? Yes, you said that on the front.
On the back.
On the back, sorry.
Yeah, so this box, like if this was the door where you're feeding the material in, you're going to feed it in, close the door, but it'll be tilted upward so that it will drain out the back. You don't want it just sitting in there.
Yeah, the shop's about 65 degrees. Somebody's asking if it's cold in here. And how long do you steam the wood for?
They say an hour per inch thickness, but a lot of people go longer than that. And that also depends on the species. Like open grain woods like ash bend quite well, or red oak. Depends on the species. And it also, like I said earlier, depends on whether it's air dried or kiln dried. The air dried is friendlier. A lot of times if you have kiln dried, it's recommended that you soak the part in just a pan of water. Just let it soak there for hours or overnight. And then it'll start to reabsorb and relax the cell fibers again. And then once it goes into the box, the steam penetrates, and it really then it gets much more pliable and workable. But if you have air dried wood, especially stuff that hasn't been fully dried, you know, and the moisture content's up around 12% or whatever, you could, or 15%, that would have been like a dream, you know. So it depends what you got.
You mentioned that you were going to talk about some of the woods that bend better. Did you?
Yeah, I just mentioned a couple.
Okay. Have any other thoughts?
But those are the real big ones. Woods like white oak, they don't bend so well because they have that tyloses in the cells, which keeps water and air from running freely through the cell structure. Unlike red oak, which is a very open grain wood and pretty easily bent. Yeah, so.
Easily bent. Okay, I think that's all.
All right, well, this is a deeper topic. You know, making the box is one thing. I wish I could have shown you, you know, it's one of those things where it'd be nice if I had a finished box and I could just show you and then, oh, here's the finished box, let's use it. But that's a larger context topic. So, but you know what? You don't have to miss it because I'll probably be talking again sometime, but I will definitely be going in depth in the course. So if you haven't seen this rocking chair course or any of our courses, that will be coming up very soon, and we'll be putting out notices for it. So you want to go to epicwoodworking.com and get on our mailing list and check out the courses over there. We'd love to have you part of that. It's a lot of fun. And also, if you like this content, consider subscribing, liking and sharing, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. All right.
All right. And no more questions? We're good?
We did have a couple questions you want to answer. How long do you have to dry the timber after steaming?
Oh, you know what? That's a good question. I have not. This is where it's getting into, I can't speak from experience, but it depends how thick the piece is. You know, the thinner stock, you're going to wrap it in a form and you want to let it dry well and you'll have limited spring back. So it depends on, you know, how thick it is and, you know, how wet it was. But, you know, I'm sorry, I can't tell you exactly, but I'm guessing about a week. So.
And would you bend the face or edge grain? Do you know?
Well, I've got some slats right here that these I'm going to use for the slats on the Canterbury rocker. And I quarter sawn this. This is some maple that's quarter sawn. Look at that beautiful flecking in there, that bee's wing. So I'm going to go with this. I don't think it matters. You just want to have a straight, true grain. So you don't want grain running out because it's liable to split when you bend it around the form. You're going to put some stress on those fibers. So that's why riving out the material is the old traditional way, so that when you rive material, it splits along the grain. So when you bend it, it's very strong fiber-wise. It's not been sawn across or diagonally. That's liable to split. So
I think a follow-up to this is helpful.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some fun.
Showing.
It's going to be fun to get into steam bending, and so it's good to show one option for the box and how we got there. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed spending a little time with us in the shop. We love having you here. So thanks for taking some time out of your day and stopping by.
That sounds good.
On behalf of the Kimberly and myself, we look forward to seeing you next time right back here on Shop Night Live. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.